Hey guys, once again, welcome you all, and I'm back with a new chapter that is Anatomy of Flowering Plants. Hope this series is helpful for you all for your need preparation. And if you have any doubts and if you have any suggestions, please do let me know by with your help of comment sections. Okay, and I will be very happy to answer you guys. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe this channel and click the bell icon so you'll be getting a notification whenever I'm posting the video. Okay, so every day evening you will be getting a video for NEET preparation, right? Okay, so without wasting time, we'll go for the new chapter, that is anatomy of flowering plants. Yes, when we talk about an anatomy of flowering plants, what is anatomy? Anatomy is nothing but a study of internal structures. Okay, so we are going to study about an internal structure of plant. Okay, and the basic unit of plant is nothing but cells, that we all know, right? Okay, so tissues means like group of cells will join together and form tissues. Okay, and those tissues present in plant and are called as plant tissue, right? Okay, so this plant tissues will be referred into two different groups. Okay, this will be referred into two different groups. Okay, based on the origin and usually based on the performance. Okay, you can say functions. Okay, so plant tissues will be divided into two types. One is meristematic tissue and another one is plant tissue. Okay, meristematic tissue is nothing but where the cells will be dividing. Okay, cells will be dividing. That means you can also say a growth will be occurs. Okay, when a plant is growing, that means it is having a meristematic medium. Okay, so the plant will grow only in a meristematic phase as well. Okay, once the growth is done, then those meristematic tissues will be converted into permanent tissues. Okay, then here in permanent tissues, they will lose the ability to divide. Here, ability of dividing, okay, the ability of division will be lost, right? Meristematic tissue is the place where the cells will start dividing and the growth will occur, whereas in permanent tissues the ability of division will be stops and the growth will also be terminated, right? Okay, so in meristematic tissues we have three types. That means when we talk about a plant, when we talk about a shoot, okay, we all know this. Okay, the tip part is called as apical meristem, right? And the lateral that in the node side, okay, wherever the nodes are present, and those places you can say intercalary meristem will be present, and in the lateral part where the lateral meristem will be present, right? Okay, so this then when we talk about a permanent tissue, simple and complex tissues, it is divided into two types, simple and complex. Okay, simple means only one type of cells will be present in a simple permanent tissue, whereas in complex more than one type of cells will be joined together and it forms a complex permanent tissues, right? When we talk about simple permanent tissues, it is classified into differed into three types. One is parenchyma, another one is collenchyma, and the next one is sclerenchyma. So in this you can say parenchyma and collenchyma both are living cell, whereas sclerenchyma is a dead cell, right? Okay, and this sclerenchyma consists of fibers and scleroids. Okay, scleroids is nothing but the fibrous part. Okay, and in the complex part, as we already said, more than one specialized cells which involve in the function, right? That is a complex permanent tissues, and it is differed into two types. One is xylem and another one is phloem. Okay, so xylem, the basic function of xylem is to supply water, and basic function of phloem is to supply food. Okay, and the specialized cells present in xylem is tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers. Sorry. Okay, xylem fibers. Whereas in phloem, okay, it is also having some four specialized tissues which is called as sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and as well as phloem fibers. Okay, this sieve tubes before few sieve tubes, some sieve tube elements will also be there, which is joined together with companion cells. We'll discuss all about this meristematic and permanent in deep, okay, in the further slides. First, we'll go with meristematic cells. Okay, meristematic tissues, right? Okay, meristematic, as I said, it is present in three regions of the stem or even the plant, you can say. Okay, so it will be present in the apical region, it will be present in the lateral region, as well as it will be present in the intercalary region. So this apical meristem, it will be present in both shoots and roots. Okay, when we talk about a shoot as well as a root. Okay, so in the tip of the root also you can see a meristem, and the tip of the shoot also we can see a meristem. Okay, the shoot which is present in the the apical meristem which is present in a shoot is called as shoot apical meristem, and the meristem which is present in a root tip is called as root apical meristem. So usually it will be occurs in shoot and root tips, and it produces primary tissues. When we talk about characters of this, when we talk about the characters of apical meristem, so it will be located in the shoot tip, right? Okay, it usually it will be located in the shoot tip as well as in the root tips, and this helps in a plant to grow its length. Okay, it will help the plant to grow in its length. Okay, so the length of the plant will be grown with the help of apical meristem. Okay, and some cells are left behind from the shoot apical meristem during the formation of leaf or elongation of stem, which forms the axillary buds. Okay, so usually we can see an axillary bud will also be present in a plants. Okay, and those axillary buds are nothing but the leftover apical meristem, which will be forming the leaves or elongation of stem. Okay, and this bud will be found in the axial part of the leaves and gives rise to the branches, right? Okay, and it gives rise to the branches of the flower. So this apical meristem will be mostly found in plants, right? Okay, next one we are talking about lateral meristem. Lateral meristem which helps in which occurs in a mature region, okay, in both shoots and roots. Okay, and this is also called as secondary meristem. Okay, so it occurs between it occurs in the region of shoot or root, and these are cylindrical in shape. Okay, they are cylindrical in shape, and this is also called as cylindrical meristem, and this helps in increasing the girth of the plant. Okay, girth of the plant means the widening of the plant. Okay, and examples of this lateral meristem are fascicular cambium, interfascicular cambium, and core cambium. Okay, you can see here that cambium is nothing but the place which is going to give an origination for vascular bundles. Okay, the vascular bundles will start originating from the vascular cambium, and this lateral meristem helps in producing those cambiums. Okay, what are all those cambiums? Fascicular vascular cambium, interfascicular cambium, and core cambium, right? Okay, when we talk about intercalary meristem, it occurs between the matured tissues. Usually it occurs between the matured tissues, and this will be regenerating the part which is removed by grazing animals. So you might have seen like animals will be grazing the plants, right? Okay, once it is grazed again from the same part part of the plant, again the plant will start grows, but that is nothing but intercalary meristem. So after grazing by herbivores, grasses regenerate their lost part. Okay, so this will be held by intercalary meristem, right? Okay, so here you can see this apical and intercalary meristem. Apical and intercalary meristem both are considered as primary meristem. Whereas the lateral meristem is considered as secondary meristem. It is considered as secondary meristem. Okay, so why it is primary meristem? As apical and intercalary meristem appear early, right? As apical and intercalary meristems appears early in the life of the plant, which forms primary plant body. Because of this, they are considered as primary meristem. Okay, so but this lateral meristem, this appears after primary meristem. So this appears after primary, appears late, right? It appears after primary meristem, so it is considered as secondary meristem. So this is what a clear idea about meristem. Okay, so we'll have a basic differentiation among primary and secondary meristem as well. So when we talk about differences, first it will be formed. Primary meristem will be formed earlier, whereas the secondary meristem formed later. And this will be developed from, the primary meristem will be developed from a promeristem and gives a rise to primary permanent tissue. Okay, whereas it developed from primary permanent cell and it gives rise to secondary permanent tissue. Okay, so this point is very important. Most of the time in NEET, like statement based questions might have been asked from this type of point. Okay, and these are usually isodiametric. Okay, the morphology of they are usually isodiametric, whereas it is commonly elongated, lengthy. Okay, and examples of primary meristem are apical and intercalary, whereas secondary meristem is lateral meristem. Right? Hope you all understood this. Now we'll go with permanent meristem. Now we'll start about permanent meristem. That means once the meristematic cells, once the meristematic tissues complete their work. Okay, let's say like a plant is grown. Okay, so this apical meristem, which we already seen, right? This apical meristem now it is having a ability to divide, right? Once the whole process is done, the apical meristem will lose the capability. It will lose the capability of growth, and by that time, that will be converted into permanent meristem. And during this permanent phase, okay, such cells will lose their ability. Here, once it becomes into permanent tissue, it lose ability. Okay, it lose the ability of division, as well as it starts differentiating. Okay, and how it is going to differentiate? It is going to differentiate into two types. One is simple permanent tissue, and as well as complex permanent tissue. Okay, so simple tissues, they are the cells which are similar. So as I said already, simple means all cells will be similar, okay, in structure and function. Whereas here in complex, here it will be made up of more than one type of cell but work together as unit. Okay, so that is about complex permanent tissue. Okay, so what are all the members, what are all the types of simple permanent? Parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, and for complex, xylem and phloem. So here already I said parenchyma and collenchyma both are living cell, whereas sclerenchyma is a dead cell, right? Okay, fine. We'll have a basic classification among our features of parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. So this is enough. Okay, I guess like most of the institutes make you guys to get worried about entering too deeper inside this. Okay, I feel like it is not required. When you just go through the past year NEET papers, I feel like this NCERT part is much enough. Okay, no need to take lot of pressure over that. Okay, so just move on this. Okay, so and after completing, you can just have a revise. Okay, and you can just go through your NEET papers, and I'm sure like it is very easy for you to clear as well. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe this channel. I hope you all understanding my way of teaching, as well as my way of teaching is impressive for you all, right? Okay, so now we'll come back to the features. Okay, so features, how the cell shape, cell wall, cytoplasm all differs among the parenchyma. See, very simple. Parenchyma, the basic function of parenchyma is storage. Basic function of parenchyma is to give a storage of the food, and whereas it also helps in photosynthesis. Whereas in collenchyma usually it gives flexibility. Helps in flexibility. And sclerenchyma, which is a dead cell, which gives a rigidity for the whole cell. Okay, rigidity for the whole cell. Okay, when we talk about cell shapes, parenchyma will be isodiametric in cell shape, or it will be oval, spherical, polygonal, and it is multiple shapes. Okay, and here in collenchyma, usually they are circular, oval, or polyhedral. When we talk about sclerenchyma, it will be variable in shape, whereas because it has fibers and sclerites, right? So it will be variable in shape. Okay, when we talk about cell wall, it has a thin cellulose, whereas it has an uneven thickening on the cell wall, and it has a lignin. Okay, it has a lignin secondary cell. So cell wall of parenchyma is made up of cellulose. Okay, and the cell wall of collenchyma is uneven and it is thick. Okay, and sclerenchyma is made up of lignin. Lignin is a type of protein, right? Okay, and the cytoplasm, here the cytoplasm is most abundant, and here it is present, and here it is absent. Okay, when we talk about nucleus, obviously since both are living tissue, they will be having a living nucleus. Whereas here, since it is a dead tissue, there is an absence of nucleus. And it has a large vacuoles. Here it is also vacuolated, but there is no vacuole because it is tightly binded. Okay, it is tightly binded. Okay, and this one will be loosely bonded. Okay, this is very loosely binded, so you can say intercellular spaces will be high. Okay, whereas here in collenchyma, it is not that loose and it is also not that tight. it will be having less amount of intercellular spaces also, and it is vacuolated. Okay, so here see intercellular spaces will be present in parenchyma, whereas it is absent in sclerenchyma. Okay, in collenchyma you can say a small amount of intercellular spaces will be present. Okay, and occurrence usually it is a packing tissue. Okay, it is a packing tissue where it will be receiving all the food materials and it will store it. Okay, and also it pack it and it will be further giving to the process. Okay, that is what the packing tissue means. Okay, and all soft parts of plant, pith, cortex and medullary rays will also looks in this. Okay, and when we talk about collenchyma, it is present in dicot stem, petiole beneath the epidermis and absent in monocot root. Okay, and when we talk about sclerenchyma, okay, so it has the pulp of guava. Okay, it is present in pulp of guava, pear, sapota. Okay, and it also present in fruit walls of nut. Okay, and leaves of teas, seed coat of legumes. These are all the places where you can see. Okay, so make it very simple. Collenchyma will present below the epidermis in a dicot stem. Collenchyma will present below the epidermis in dicot stem, and parenchyma will be present in major component of organs. Okay, and whereas this sclerenchyma will be present in leaves, fruits, seed coats, all these things, right? Okay, so major function it's mentioned here. Parenchyma major function is food storage as well as photosynthesis, and collenchyma which give a tensile strength. Tensile strength means flexibility, and also it gives a mechanical support as well as it helps in photosynthesis. And for sclerenchyma, it helps in the protection from stress and strain as well as it gives a mechanical strength. Okay, so the dead cell which you can see over the cork shell, okay, that is how exactly the sclerenchyma also looks like. Okay, I hope you all got a clear idea about this. Let's move to the complex tissues. Okay, so complex tissues, as I said, a group of cells, more than one type of cell will be formed together and joined together and will work in a united way. Okay, that is what complex tissues. So two types of complex tissues are there. One is xylem and another one is phloem. So in this slide, we'll talk about xylem. So xylem is also called as hadrome. Xylem is also called as hadrome. Two types of xylems are there. We can further divide it into two types. One is primary xylem and another one is secondary xylem. Okay, so primary growth, during the time of primary growth we can see a primary xylem, whereas during the time of secondary growth we can see the secondary xylem. Okay, what is the primary xylem, what is the primary growth, secondary growth? Make it very sure. See, when a plant is growing, let's say a plant is growing, now the meristems are active. So it is getting growth. Once it become deactive, once it is deactivated, okay, once it is deactivated, what happened? It will be converted into permanent tissue, right? Okay, until this primary xylem will be present. Okay, until here primary xylem will be present, and after, once this permanent tissue is all done its work, and again the meristematic cells will start active. Again the meristematic cells will become active. By the time it will become secondary meristematic cell. Okay, secondary meristematic cell. By the time we will be getting secondary xylem, we will be receiving secondary xylem. So this is how. So first meristem. Okay, so meristem to permanent, and after the secondary meristem, secondary permanent. So by the time when we have primary meristem, we have primary xylem, and secondary meristem will have secondary xylem. So this primary xylem will be derived from procambium. That means the stage before the cambium starts growing. So already I said, what is cambium? Cambium is the place where it is going to originate the vascular bundles. What is vascular bundles? Vascular bundle is nothing but composition of xylem and phloem, right? Okay, so primary xylem it will be derived from procambium, and they are of two types. Primary xylems are of two types. One is protoxylem and another one is metaxylem. One is protoxylem and another one is metaxylem. So this protoxylem will be earlier formed, whereas this will be formed late. Okay, so this metaxylem will form late. Okay, so in the xylem will be present in both stem and root, right? Okay, the primary xylem will be present in both stem and root, but the arrangement will be different. Okay, the protoxylem and metaxylem arrangement will be different. In stem, the protoxylem will be towards the center, in stem, the protoxylem will be towards the center, whereas the metaxylem will be towards the sides, periphery. Okay, so you can say center protoxylem will be there, and in the periphery metaxylem will be there. So this is what a condition in stem, and that condition is called as endarch, and that condition is called as endarch. When we talk about a root, okay, inside you can say the metaxylem will be towards the center, whereas protoxylem will be towards the periphery. Okay, and this condition is called as exarch condition. Right? Hope you all understood this. Next, we'll go to secondary xylem, which is derived from cambium. So that means now already cambium was produced. Okay, it was produced, and now from the cambium, a new xylem is getting over produced. Okay, and that is called a secondary xylem. And now the cells are more differentiated. Now the cells are more differentiated, and it will be forming 4 elements. What are all those 4 elements? Tracheids, vessels, xylem fiber, and xylem parenchyma. So in this you can see all these 3: tracheids, vessels, xylem fibers are the dead cells. Okay, whereas parenchyma is the only living cell. Okay, parenchyma is the only living cell. Okay, we'll see what is that in depth. Okay. Secondary xylem which develops from cambium during the secondary growth, right? So what are all the elements? First one is tracheids. Tracheids will be elongated with tapering ends, and they are dead cells. That means no protoplasm will be there, and they will be having a lignified cell wall. Lignin. The cell wall is made up of lignin. So that is what about tracheids. Okay, next we are talking about vessels. Vessels is a tubular structure. Vessels is a tubular structure which is made up of the cells, and those cells are nothing but vessel members. Okay, and these members are usually joined together end to end. Okay, so these vessels will be joined together end to end, and they are the, and again this is also a dead vessel, this is also a dead cell, that means no protoplasm, and again this will also have a lignin. Okay, this will also have a lignin cell wall, and large central cavity will be present. Okay, it has a large central cavity. Okay, and apart from that, it is the basic characteristic feature of angiosperm, whereas in gymnosperm, the presence vessels will be absent. Okay, the vessel members will be absent. Vessel members are absent, right? Okay, so you can say vessel members are one of the basic characteristic features of angiosperm. Okay, next when we talk about xylem fibers, they are also elongated with tapering ends, and they have a obliterated lumen. Okay, they will be having a obliterated lumen, sorry. Okay, and they are also dead cells, so no protoplasm, and they are also having lignified cell walls. And this may be septate or aseptate. Septate or aseptate is nothing but which is arranged in a proper order, or which is clumsy, or which is overlapping each other. Okay, so this xylem fibers, it may be septate, okay, or it may be aseptate, right? Okay, it may be arranged in a proper order, or it may be arranged, it will be clumsy. Okay, that is how the xylem fibers looks. Okay, and last one is xylem parenchyma, which is the only living cell of the xylem. Okay, and it has very thin cell wall which is made up of cellulose. Okay, and the main function of this xylem parenchyma is to store food. Okay, it's to store food, and those food is nothing but starch and oil. Okay, and the main function of this xylem, okay, the main function of this xylem is for conduction of water as well as mineral, and also to give a mechanical strength. Okay, fine. And a radial conduction of water will be done with a ray parenchyma, which is one important feature of this secondary xylem. Okay, it is an important feature of secondary xylem. Okay, hope you all understood this xylem part. Enough, that's enough. Okay, no need to go much deeper for this. That's enough. Okay, last we'll be studying about phloem. Okay, so in today's chapter we'll be completing with phloem. Okay, and tomorrow we'll be starting with a tissue system, right? Okay, so phloem is also called as leptome. Phloem is also called as leptome. Again, this phloem is also two types. One is primary phloem and secondary phloem. Already I said, which is derived from procambium is called as primary, and which is derived from cambium is called secondary. Okay, so here also primary phloem is going to have two types. One is protophlloem and metaphlloem. So protophlloem will be present in the, it will be produced earlier, and it will be narrow, it will be having a narrow sieve tubes. Narrow means straight, okay, straight and lengthy sieve tubes, whereas metafloem will be having a bigger sieve tubes, right? Okay, and those metafloem will also be produced late, okay, and there is, in this condition there is no such endarch, exarch and all, so always it will be present in one single condition only. The phloem will be present in one single condition only. Okay, when we talk about secondary phloem, again it is more differentiated, okay, and it is going to be differentiated into 4 elements. Okay, what are all those 4 elements? Sieve tube elements, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. Okay, so in this you can say companion cell is a living cell and phloem parenchyma is a living cell. Okay, we'll go deeper about that. What is secondary phloem? So secondary phloem, when we talk about it, first one is sieve tube element. First one is sieve tube elements. Okay, this is nothing but an elongated tube. Okay, it is an elongated tube structure which is arranged longitudinally. They will be having a perforated end walls. Let's say like this is a sieve tube, and usually sieve tubes are arranged longitudinally. Okay, and each sieve tubes will be having pores. Okay, each sieve tubes will be having pores on their cell, on their corners. Why? Because usually the sieve tubes will be connected with companion cells. That is associated with companion cells because at maturity, sieve elements possess peripheral cytoplasm but no nucleus. Okay, means sieve tubes does not, it lacks nucleus. Okay, it lacks nucleus. So since it does not have nucleus, the control will be taken over by companion cells. Okay, the control will be taken over by companion cells. Okay, and the nucleus of the companion is going to control the activity of this sieve tubes, right? Next, we are going to talk about companion cells, which is a living cell and it is a specialized parenchymatous cell. So obviously it is going to store, right? Okay, so parenchymatous cell, which is closely associated with a sieve element. Okay, already we saw this, which is associated with sieve tube elements. Okay, and they are connected to the sieve tube element by pith. Okay, pith is nothing but you can say septum type, a layer type. Okay, or you can say, yeah, layer is enough. Okay, so this will be connected with the pith. Okay, and pith field in a common longitudinal way, it is also connected in the longitudinal way, and the function of companion cell is to maintain the pressure gradient. So remember this, it helps in maintaining pressure gradient. Okay, pressure gradient in sieve tubes. Okay, so that is one of the most important function of companion cells. The next one is phloem fibers, and this phloem fibers is also called as bast fibers. And they are elongated, they are pointed, and they are unbranched sclerenchymatous fiber. If it is sclerenchymatous, blindly you can say it is a dead cell, right? It is a dead cell. Okay, and they are having lignified cell wall. Okay, so they are dead cell, that means no protoplasm. They are generally absent in primary phloem. Remember this, primary fibers are generally absent in primary phloem. Okay, but they are most abundant in secondary phloem. Okay, so the secondary phloem is usually having a lot of commercial use also. Okay, so it is present in jute. Okay, it is used in a jute manufacturing. Okay, it helps in hemp, flax. Okay, using for ropes and all textile industry, all these things. Okay, so that hardest layer will be helping to producing this jute and as well as ropes in the textile industry. The last but not least, phloem parenchyma, which is also a living cell, elongated and tapering cell with a dense cytoplasm and nucleus. They have dense cytoplasm and nucleus, and they are absent. This phloem parenchyma are usually absent in monocots. And here the cells are interconnected. Like this. Okay, the cells are interconnected with the help of plasmodesmatal connection. What is plasmodesmata? The connection between the two cells where the cytoplasm will be flown from one cell to another cell, where the cytoplasm will be flown from one cell to another cell, and that is called as plasmodesmata, and that will be done through the pits. Okay, pits is nothing but the layers. Okay, the layers which is present in between two cells. Okay, so these cells are interconnected by plasmodesmatal connections through pits, and these are the cells which helps in storing food, resin, latex, mucilage, etc. Okay, remember this helps in storing resins. Okay, this also helps in storing latex and as well as mucilage. Okay, apart from food storage, it helps in storing resin, latex and mucilage. And the main function of this phloem, as we all know, for food material transport. Right, guys? So this is what about our tissue. Okay, this is what about our basic tissue, that is plant tissues: primary, secondary, meristematic and permanent. Right? Hope you all understood this session, and with this I'm winding up today's session. Tomorrow we'll continue with tissue system. Okay, so that tissue system will be big vast. Okay, I will be make it sure tomorrow, and you guys, I need some confidence and as well as some commitment from you side. Okay, I want you guys to just go through your last previous year NEET question papers as well as mock test. So if you are not able to attend any question after attending my series, okay, then just do let me know in the comment box, so I will be updating myself, or I can work bit progressively for how to help you. Okay, and finally completing with our motto: think big, dream big. And you can follow me in the Instagram, Salim HRS. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Just share this to your friends, like this, and comment in the chat box. Fine, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for watching my video, and with this I'm winding up my session. Thank you. Bye.